think it's so important for experienced leaders to be able to have conversations with young interns. I don't know how you can be in an organization that's growing organically and not have a generation coming behind you.
It's not unusual to meet a 22-year-old that might say something like, I really don't know what I want to do. More than likely, that young person has never had a senior person sit down and have a conversation with them. We firmly understand and recognize that these are difficult conversations, but they're rarely had.
Ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I didn't really know what that meant. I like the idea of it. I like telling stories. I like telling visual stories. Each trip that we went on, each film shoot we did, each video we delivered, brought me one step closer to realizing how I could actually take these skills that I had and put them into practice.
One of the things we've done at Fuller is we have instituted what we call the central integration question. This is the question that everything hinges around. At this point in your Christian journey, how do you envision your call to God's mission in the world? Call is a process that all of us, even if you're a world-renowned theologian, we want to ask you, so what's God saying to you today about what you're supposed to do? And that ongoing discernment process is what we've built into our entire curriculum, and is the question that we continue to ask as a formational community.
There's perhaps no more holy work than to ask someone the deep questions of life and then to give space for them to respond and answer. When we give young adults that space to ponder and to think, God does that work in them.
So as we're walking together, we talk about, where do you want to be in the next year? Where do you want to be in 3 years? With our intern who came on and is now the area director, we walked through a pretty specific process. We have a plan for this area. We have a plan we think you fit into, and it's moving in this direction. How do you feel about that?
An opportunity came up to direct a feature-length documentary. It was my first big project like this, and I sat down and I was talking with John Priddy, the CEO. We were able to pray about it and see, is this something where God's calling me? He encouraged me to take this opportunity where I'd be taking time off from Windrider to be going where God was calling me. And now, after the documentary was done, I'm back with Windrider and we're doing amazing stuff.
Properly done, an internship gives a young person hope in themselves. They have discovered what they're good at. They've discovered that I can make a difference. I can lead a person to Christ. I can put on a good camp. I can create a wonderful story through video that somebody else is going to want to watch and listen to. It's an incredible opportunity to develop hope at every level of kingdom life.
I was going to Boise State University and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So to get kind of that validation from our regional director really kind of started making me think more and more of, man, is this something I really want to do full time? And it was really just gave me this space to explore what I thought my call on my life was.
As my husband and I have tried to figure out what's next, we've really relied on my advisor and different voices to help us figure out where God is leading us. They know our hearts and they know what we love to do. They've seen us in ministry settings. They know what we're good at.
These conversations, I think, continue to shape me and continue to grow me, and it gave me a real perspective for how I wanted to contextualize this dream.
So as believers, we are people of the story. It's really a great space for us because we get to be in the middle of story. We get to tell stories. We get to talk about stories. I would say as an advisor in an internship program, it is helpful to consider you're in the midst of somebody else's story, and they're in the midst of your story, and now you have a shared story. And you're all a part of the bigger story of God's relationship with humanity.